Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Oil Rig Podcast, the TORP. This is our playoff preview edition. Um, and as always, I'm Faiz and I am being joined by Greg.
Hello.
Hello. So it's the best time of the year. It's playoff hockey time. It's the first round, which is always just a crazy, crazy time. And luckily the Oilers did in fact make it, despite maybe some worries earlier in the season.
Some tense moments, definitely.
I mean, they at least, they went out with a bang against Vancouver in the last game to really show, some dominance, and they're not sleepwalking necessarily into the playoffs, which is kind of a concern. I mean, they don't want to be coming in slow. I'd say that's for sure.
Well, all season it kind of like we've been saying like, oh, their game is gonna round into form. They're gonna win
Yeah.
3 in a row.
Yeah.
Trust me, guys, they're good.
They did
Yeah,
it twice.
yeah, and who knows? I think that we probably haven't even seen their like best and most consistent yet. So I'm expecting big things.
Well, and I mean, the last stretch not having Draisaitl, not having Hyman, like obviously those are big losses. So the fact that the team was able to be over 500 is kind of
Mhm.
impressive in that sense, at least.
Yeah, help them scrape and claw a little bit. I mean, like it. Maybe you could argue it gave some room for other players to step up, like Savoy
Yeah, and he did.
or Szymanski. It's just like, yeah, yeah. So some positives from the obvious negatives of
Yeah.
Draisaitl being injured, and maybe that's a good place to start phases. Like all the injuries the Oilers have, who's going to be back and when.
Yeah, like, well, I mean, today Draisaitl was practicing on like a regular line on the second line. So that's encouraging for sure. Like, there's no reason you would. I know the game, we're 2 days away, 3 days away from the game. So, you can make the argument it's just to see how he's doing. But I think that, I think that's a good sign. And I think knowing how competitive he is, if the injury is not, if an extra day or two isn't going to make a difference to the injury, he's going to play. I think is
Right,
is is my take on it. And then I mean, Dickinson, they said he skated today on his own, I think, and he's gonna practice on Sunday. I would expect he's maybe not gonna be ready for game one. I mean, we don't know what his injury is. It was probably
right,
like the shin or ankle or something. So who knows?
right.
I mean, I'd expect he obviously would also want to play if he's healthy enough. He's not full health. Max Jones, though, I mean, he was in crutches yesterday in the Vancouver game. So yeah, he's still, I think, 2, 3 weeks out at least.
Yeah, I mean, Draisaitl obviously is a huge one. Right, we've seen him just be excellent through the playoffs, like hobbled before. So you hate to like take the excellence for granted, but kind of assumed that would be the case. Dickinson's an interesting one because he's kind of fulfills like a unique role
Yeah,
on the roster. I mean, I think there's a lot to be encouraged about, like how Szymanski played,
I
maybe.
think that's huge.
Yeah, so but yeah, definitely it's nice that it seems like both of them will be back at some point, even if it's not game one, you know. The
Yeah,
Oilers have a definitely like a long they can't look past the Ducks, who are a very interesting team in their own right. But yeah,
yeah. I know. I think everyone in Edmonton was rooting for this situation to get home ice and be against the Ducks.
for
So
the
you're
Kings.
always weary when that happens. The karma or the hockey gods being like, okay, the monkey paw this, you got what you asked for, kind of thing.
Right.
But I mean, I think the Oilers stack up well against Anaheim. I'm assuming it's going to be a track meet. Like, I don't think either
Yeah.
team is going to be playing shutdown defense.
Yeah.
Hopefully that,
The Ducks are super interesting because like obviously they're the young team,
yeah,
lots of kind of players coming into their own, like lots of new faces. They're kind of getting their first crack at the playoffs here, and they're also interesting because like they are a good offensive team,
Mhm.
and you look at the roster and it seems really good, but they're really not. They haven't really like necessarily learned to win yet. Like if you look, like they're giving up a ton of chances still. Their special teams are not good. You know, like they're leaving a lot of meat on the bone. I think they're they're going to continue to improve, you know. But I mean, whereas you look at the Oilers, it's like the power play is obviously amazing. The penalty kills are ending into form. I think there's a lot more reason to believe they could shut it down a bit. Where the Ducks look like destined to like it's Lucas Doe style against the world. It's just yeah.
I mean, that style's the reason why I'm like a little worried about the Ducks is we've seen before how big of a part a goalie can play. So that's the scary thing is he is good enough to do that. I mean, the other thing too is the Ducks are stumbling into the playoffs here. Oilers are, kind of ramping it up, if you will, if you want to look at it that way in any event. But so you just got to hope that you can pounce on them early, I think. I think if you can really, in that first game especially, like in that first period, if you can really take it to them. Again, it's a young team, so you can maybe get to them in that sense. I mean, like in terms of, yeah, like their top four scorers are 21 years old, 20 years old, 19 years old, and 24 years old. Like it's a young team, and they've got sure they have some, decent veterans and like Kreider, Granlund, Truba, and Carlson, obviously, that they can draw on. But yeah, I think, the Oilers, you can't take them for granted for sure. And I think you need to come out hard and really just there's no easing into this first.
Yeah, no, the Ducks, yeah, a young, explosive team for sure. Like, I'm excited to see like how some of their players do in their first playoff action. Like, I mean, Cutter Gauthier obviously had like a great season. Leo Carlson, I mean, we talked about him a bit in our Olympic episodes, like how important was thinking he was going to be for Sweden, just kind of like as their top center. Becky Seneca, I mean, just kind of coming into his own, scratching the surface. Like, yeah, no, Verbeek, the GM there is like, he made all these interesting picks. Everyone thought it was going to be Fantilli or someone else. He's always going in his own direction. So it's nice to see like his convictions pay off in a way. Like of their young players, maybe Mason McTavish is having like kind of a tough season,
Yeah.
but a lot of them have worked out really nicely. A lot of his big gambles here. Yeah, of course, the veteran offshoots like Kreider and Truba cast off from the Rangers. Yeah, finding a way to, stay around and be useful. So, yeah, definitely like there's some young defensemen that like them adding John Carlson was really big, obviously, but
Yeah.
getting after their young defensemen, like really making life tough for Jackson Lacombe, who their top defenseman is going to be like yeah, yeah, definitely something to watch for in the series.
Yeah, because I mean, Gudis, I guess, is another defenseman. Gudis and True are defensemen to watch just in terms of dirty play. You know, hopefully we don't.
Physical player.
No, I'm gonna stick with dirty play. They have shown time and time again that they're dirty players.
Yeah, well.
They're not, they don't get any respect from me in that
Oh
sense.
wow. Okay.
They don't just hit to hurt, they hit to injure. I think those
Mm,
are different things.
mm,
But so that's the one thing is like you always just need to make sure that when those two are on the ice, that you keep your head up. I mean, they've also got up front like Frank Vacciano is obviously a decently uh aggressive guy and stuff, but I really think it's
that's what
you
you
can
got.
play these guys
Yeah.
apart for sure. But I don't know. I think it's a good matchup for the Oilers. I mean, realistically, I'd say the only real bad matchup that could have happened was Colorado. So,
That would have been a tough one in the first round.
well, I mean, the funny
Yeah.
thing is, it's not even just playing them in the first round. It's even if you beat them, then you're playing one of Dallas or Minnesota next. Like, it's not an
Right.
easy path.
Right. I mean, to me, like those three in the Central, and then the Oilers and the Knights, that would be kind of like the favorites of the West. I know that's like more than half the teams, but
I think one of these eight teams is going to make it out of the West. That's
but
my
yeah, but
like.
yeah. I mean, the Oilers obviously they should feel really good. I think like they've like owned the Western Conference for the past couple of years here.
Yeah.
I think yeah, just even though like the regular season maybe wasn't as impressive as some other teams, it's like to me they still deserve the benefit of the doubt in some extent. Especially if I'm gonna just try to predict what's happening. Like, still have to go out there and earn it, obviously, but like they've shown that they can do that. I think that this team, you comparing it to last year's team or the year before, I think it'd be hard to argue that this is a weaker team. Uh,
I think it is a less experienced team for sure.
that could
At
be
the
a good thing.
But, like, I think, with the injuries to Draisaitl and Hyman, what it did was it allowed other players to have to step up, and, like you mentioned, Savoy at the top and, put Coles in, Roslovic, even Kapanen to an extent, like, all these guys started to Frederick's been playing great, like, and now we have that 4th line of, like, Frederick, Doc, and Szymanski, which
Right.
is just, like, the best kind of 4th line you could have in a playoff, I think, like, all big boys who hit, Szymanski is very defensively responsible, Frederick isn't necessarily a slouch in that area either, so, like, I think, like, it's that, there's that part of it, and then again, now you've got Savoy up on the first line, which allows you to have, like, a 3rd line with one of, like, Nugent Hopkins or Roslovic and Roslovic.
Mhm.
The depth is there. It's just obviously it's not the battle-tested depth we've had the last 2 years when it was, like, Perry and Brown and Janmark and those kinds of guys.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I mean, like, from 2 years ago, I thought, like, having McLeod, like, that kind of shutdown center was a really useful thing, so I think that that's part of the reason why I'm excited for Dickinson. Obviously, like, the Savoy trade looks, like, really good, obviously,
Yeah.
uh, but now to have kind of Dickinson filling in that McLeod role, it's like you got your cake and you're eating it too, however that go. Yeah. So, yeah, I think in some key areas, like, obviously, I think, especially against the Ducks, like, getting off the start here, you mentioned it was gonna be like a riverboat gamble series of, like, lots of offense. I think that should be the expectation for sure, but I think of the 2 teams, the Oilers they have what it takes to be, like, um, a much better defensive team than their work through the whole season shows. I think, like, as the season has gone, they've kind of been rounding into form. We've seen glimpses of it at least.
Yeah, I agree, like, I the one thing I guess I would say that I would be cautious, and I think the Oilers need to be cautious of, I would say, like, if this does become a track meet with a younger team, you can't necessarily get into the bad habits. Like you say, like, focus on being defensively responsible as well, because you're gonna need that in the next round, right? Um, so I think it's you still wanna, if you have the chance to run them out of the building, obviously do it. But I think the big thing is making sure to continue to focus on strong team play, which they've been doing over the last little while, I think. So it's not a big deal. But I would just say that's the one concern of a track meet first round.
Yeah, yeah. And the Ducks have had, like, tons of, like, games with comebacks and big lead changes. Yeah, they're to some extent, like, they're just, like, kind of a young and inexperienced enough team that they're going to make mistakes. Like, uh, in some ways, they might, like, beat themselves. Uh, I mean, obviously, if you're the Oilers, you're hoping for that. Whereas, like, you know, the Oilers, like, I don't know. I think, like, you can afford to be, like, a little patient. Like, you don't have to be up 5-0 after the first. Like, if you're down by a goal or two, like, you can't, like, lose your structure. There's gonna be yeah, different different opportunities, I think, for the Oilers to find a way back into a game that they're down, without cheating too much.
No, I agree completely. I think at the very least, though, it'll be fun. Like, I'm so glad we're not
Yeah,
the Kings because those series,
tired of the game.
I'm tired of them. And it's like they just there was fun, I think, the first, like, 3 years, I think it was. The first 2 years was fun, the 3rd year was, like, kinda fun. Last year just wasn't fun because it's just and especially this year, like, they're just 2 different types of teams, and so it's not entertaining hockey necessarily. I think so that's why I'm happy about this. I think all the series actually everyone talks about, the playoff format, blah, blah, blah. I actually think all the series this year, they could all be fun. Like, I wanna watch every single series. I don't think there's
Mhm.
one where I'm like, I don't like Colorado, LA, I think is actually gonna be a fun series to watch because Colorado is so good, but, LA's got the hot hand right now, and Anze Kopitar's last season kind of vibes.
Yeah,
Minnesota, two of the best teams. Vegas, Utah, I think is going to be fun. Um, Pittsburgh, Philly is always a good time.
sure.
Like the only one I think you can maybe argue is Carolina, Ottawa, but even then, like,
Yeah, it's there are like it's a fun battle of opposites there where the Hurricanes is like they've been so successful for so long, but maybe lacking like the star power. And then the Sens, they kind of do have the star power in a way, like
yeah.
so.
Think about it. You've got Jake Sanderson as a legit
Yeah,
number one defenseman. You've got Linus Allmark, who when he's on his game is a Vezina Trophy winner.
sure, sure.
Up front as a franchise player, you got Brady
Dude,
Tkachuk, but whatever. No, they're a good team. Like they've got the pieces.
yeah, that's just a interesting upset watch for sure. Yeah, no,
I,
uh,
I was gonna say my upset watch though would actually be Montreal over Tampa.
is that really an upset? I think
Well,
like,
okay, I guess that's the question. Some people
yeah,
would call it an upset, some people wouldn't.
yeah, Montreal. Yeah, that that seems like a fun bandwagon to be a part. I mean, yeah, yeah. It is like maybe one of the themes of this playoffs is like there's so many teams that I think a neutral observer can be happy about that they made it. Like you talked about Kings and the Kopitar last season, the Mammoth in their first time ever, the Ducks making it for the first time with this core, the Sabres finally making it. Like Crosby back in it. So yeah, there's lots of like teams that it is a big changeover year in a way, like because it's not like oh maybe the bottom two teams in each conference like flipped out and someone different made it. It's like there's some real players that it's very different from like last year's playoffs if you're thinking.
Well, like, because I did the bracket challenge for our win column sports. So I
Huh.
guess who my two teams are in the finals.
I'm gonna guess that you have Edmonton and Pittsburgh just for Stu Skinner, your old boy.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking about that. Stu versus Chuck, or Stu coming back, Crosby versus McDavid. But
Mm.
I have Pittsburgh losing to Montreal in the conference finals. So I got
Oh,
Montreal.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. The all Canadian final. I haven't done my bracket yet, so I can't speak to what I would do, what I would have. I mean, it's interesting to kind of put myself in like the shoes of like, I don't know, like the Stars. I mean, that's got to be a tough one. I mean, they're kind of turning into the Hurricanes West, where it's like they're making it to the conference final, and then every year they run into Edmonton. How
That's
is
what
this year going to be different?
I
Like,
have in mind this year too. I know like they've got like injuries this year, and so I was like a little hesitant to pick them over Minnesota. But I don't know. In Minnesota, I just don't. I don't
mm,
have confidence in Minnesota. I think Dallas. I think I just have confidence, and I think I have them beating Colorado,
yeah, like
like to win the Central. I'm not a huge like. I'm not gonna say I'm confident about that pick, but
yeah, Colorado is interesting. Like, it's funny how much like maybe this bleeds into like the Norris conversation too. Is like that one cup. It's funny how like how much credit that gives them, like unquestioned.
yeah.
It's like have they even won around since then? I guess Kadri's back, so maybe they have a chance. But like, yeah, no, I mean they've been really disappointing in the playoffs recently. Last year was like tough.
Yeah.
Dallas is a tough first round series for sure. And Rantanen
Well, exactly.
came back to smite them basically. Uh, but yeah, obviously they're dangerous. The second half of the season they have not been as good. Like they were really just like
But it was
cruising
just
off that.
yeah. I was gonna say you're just
Yeah.
cruising through it.
So it's definitely going to be tough for them. Yeah, going to be tough for them. Yeah, on the east side, I don't know who I would like. Like, I mean, Ottawa's so interesting because if they can beat the Hurricanes, like the Flyers and the Penguins are kind of unproven. The Metro is just like completely wide open. Like,
Yeah.
what a mess. Whereas obviously the Atlantic is the opposite.
The Atlantic is wide open too. It's
Yeah.
wide open of good. It's basically the central and the Atlantic are the same, and then Pacific and
Mhm.
Metro are the same.
The
But
pillow fight.
the pillow fights.
That's got to be McDavid's best
That
work.
is a great
I
line.
mean, all the Hart trophies are won. The Conn Smythe on a
Yeah.
losing team as a skater, unbelievable. But that was a good. That was up there too. Classic. Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know who I'm really cheering for outside of the Oilers and some of these other
I mean,
series. You know,
I'm cheering for Utah. I think, first year, nice story. Also, they're playing Vegas, so
Vegas is an issue for sure.
I think the teams I mean, the only thing is I don't want Utah to obviously win because they'd have to go through the Oilers to do that. But I think
Right.
in the West, if I had to pick one other team outside of Edmonton that I would be like bandwagoning, I guess it probably would be Utah. And then in the East, I mean, I said Montreal already, and I mean, the only other option would maybe be Buffalo, but I like Montreal better than Buffalo.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind some of these teams like Pittsburgh. I could get behind for.
Crosby's final cup kind of thing, last dance.
We'll see. He's got a lot of years left, in my opinion. But maybe with the three that people talk about, like Malkin and Letang, maybe
Yeah,
closer to the end. I mean, obviously the Skinner angle would be hilarious, even though like it might just as well be Shilov's there. Like, yeah, but also just yeah, this is truly the best time. I think this first round is just chaotic, especially if you have a lot of days off where you could just watch hockey the whole time.
man, like the first day of the playoffs, it's Saturday, it's a triple header, and it's
Yeah,
all Eastern
Sunday.
teams, so it ends like decently early.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. And then the Oilers start on Monday, which obviously is beneficial to them, just with the injury situation.
Yeah,
That and take those extra days where you can get them. And the Ducks, like Gudis, is kind of like they say day to day, but they don't really have any like huge injuries. So, I mean, obviously, people are more banged up than
they're ever gonna
being led to believe. Yeah, but 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 yeah, it probably does really benefit the Oilers that this matchup is like coming through on just a day late.
like that in itself, definitely. Like it'll be interesting to say the least. It's gonna be 20 degrees in Edmonton too, I think, on Monday. So just, the
The
weather,
party's just getting
it's just gonna be
started.
crazy. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Did you want to hit anything else? Like, do you want to do any Bouchard Norris talk? We
Oh
already kind
yeah,
of did
yeah.
that.
So like you had talked about this
McDavid
on.
Hart.
I mean, it's such an interesting year for the regular season awards, um, and especially in Edmonton, right? Like you've got Bouchard for the Norris and McDavid for the Hart, and it's just like there's just so many competing narratives going on and criteria being thrown around, and it always happens, but it's crazy this year just how every defenseman and every player who's up for either of these awards, you can make a different argument based on a different criteria, essentially. So, Cale Makar is in the conversation for Norris, not necessarily because he's had the best season, but because everyone just has accepted he's overall the best defenseman in the league on any given day.
Right.
But it's like that's not what the Norris is for. The Norris is for the best defenseman, the
This
best
season.
season this
Yeah.
season. So no, and then the funny thing then is like, okay, if you want to make that argument for Makar, then guess what? You have to give the Hart to McDavid, right? Like you can't then say, oh, but it's the most, who's the best for their team or blah blah blah. It's like no, you're gonna say Makar deserves the Norris for being the overall best defenseman in general. McDavid gets the Hart for being the overall best player in general. I don't agree with either of those interpretations. I want to be clear. But, let's be try and be consistent on what people are saying. And then it's like it gets to the conversation as it always does in the Norris of how important points are supposed to be, even though 9 times out of 10, the highest scoring defenseman gets it. In
Yeah.
this case, Bouchard is what, 11 points ahead of the next like defenseman. Stats are actually like really good. It's just a bad 10-game start and just people watching him, like watching just the mistakes that get posted on Twitter and stuff, and then they make a decision based on that. Sorry, he's 14 points up.
Yeah,
14
which is
points up
so
on
significant.
like that is a third pairing defenseman amount of points. But so like and like I think with Werenski, I was kind of on not bored per se, but I was like, okay, I can kind of understand him winning it. But then down the stretch, Thomas doesn't make it. He was fading during that stretch. It
Did
brings
you
the
see that?
question. Yeah, go ahead.
Did you see that bonus press conference
Oh
the
my
season?
gosh.
And
Yeah.
some people are looking at that basically for those that didn't see it as he's just on a tirade about. I mean, it does seem to be his classic. He did it with Winnipeg a few years ago,
Yeah.
um, where he just kind of like rips his team's effort and care level. What was it? 23 giveaways and 3 hits,
Yeah, something
season
like
on
that.
the line, and that's what you put up. Like, and but anyways, a lot of people are kind of like probably unfairly because Werenski's is like a really great player, but they're saying, well, maybe he's part of the problem. Maybe he's one of the guys that is kind of like wilting in these big moments.
Yeah.
So,
And then, but I mean, yeah. So again, it's hard to say because he's, and then again, though, the Norris is not like again, the heart, the issue that always comes with the heart is most valuable to his team. The Norris is not most valuable to his team.
which
So like
is
you can say
best.
Orensky is, yeah. So the Norris is really the MVP on defense, right? Like that's how it should be. And that's why I think Bouchard should get it. I think you can make arguments for Werenski, Dahlin, and even Hudson. Um,
Hughes,
Hughes is not
really?
well, because there's the whole thing about like he doesn't play any penalty kill, like he doesn't, and there's also the fact that like actually has like the most even strength goals against when he's on the ice, kind of thing, and that it got worse when he moved to Minnesota from going to Vancouver.
Wow.
Like I think it's Bouchard, sorry, Bouchard, Dahlin, Werenski with an outshot at outside at Hudson. If the winner is any of those four. I'm whatever, even if Bouchard doesn't win. I just think if Makar or Hughes wins, it's just me.
God.
Said that.
Yeah. Well, it has been interesting to see people kind of like admitting that they went back to the tape on Bouchard. We're
Yeah.
like, oh,
Friedman.
I was, yeah, no, exactly. But I think like if Friedman is saying that, he's definitely not going to be alone. It's obviously it's a challenge to watch all the teams and really have like a full feel. You could
Totally.
argue,
And it's also
yeah,
your job as well.
yeah,
Like you're a
yeah,
professional
that's
hockey
part.
player.
Mhm.
You get paid to watch hockey and talk about it. Like you obviously not going to watch every game, but yeah, like to say
Right.
that on game 81 you're going to go back and start looking. It's not great. I will say like it has been funny watching a lot of the panels that have been happening recently about the Norris, and you seem to have like the one guy who is just spouting, old cliches about just Makar being the best and all these things, then saying how bad Bouchard is, and then you have another guy on the panel being like, well, actually, no, like Bouchard's stats are this good. This like you have one guy in every single panel right now being like he's not even in the conversation. Then you have a guy being like, no, he arguably is the best defenseman this year, and what you're saying is wrong. So it's at least that
Yeah.
kind of gives me some hope of the fact that there
It,
are people who are like, no, like let's not be so denigrating to Bouchard. So
right.
I don't think he's gonna win. I think he should. I don't think he's going to,
In some ways, like um, left off Team Canada is where he lost
which is not supposed to
the
be a part
Norris.
of
Yeah.
this.
And it's like, and because like whether it's right or wrong is like when these national teams or best on best teams are selected and you're left off it, that's like taken as just the truth, like undeniably. So, like I think things would be different if he was on that team. People would probably be recognizing, like, oh, yeah, he does. He does this support. The other thing, like, just, yeah, the other thing that, like, the Norris is funny, like, because historically, it does usually go to the guy with the most points. Um, and I don't necessarily think that that is how it should go, but that is 100% the precedent. And of course, it's when Bouchard is 14 points up on the next guy that all of a sudden it's not an open and shut case.
Well, I mean,
But
the
like,
last time Oilers defenseman led the league in points, he didn't even get a single Norris vote.
Oh my goodness.
Tyson Berry.
Wow. Yeah.
That one
That's
I was fine with. I
interesting.
think everyone was like, "Yeah, no,
Yeah.
fair."
No, but it does like make me think of those defensemen that are kind of like lost in the shuffle for this award. Like I think about Miro Heiskanen in Dallas, or Jake Sanderson, who you brought up in Ottawa, or Jacob Slavin in Carolina, where it's like they're super good, maybe the best in the league, but not, yeah, offensively inclined enough to really garner much attention that way, you know.
One
So
second, my computer's about to die.
yeah, no worries.
Go. Sorry. Yeah, no, and I agree. Like, and that's like, yeah, Moritz Seider's another guy.
That's a good
And
one.
everyone's like, is it best defenseman? What does that mean? Right?
Yeah.
I think it's just you're never gonna have a perfect definition, and like having an offensive defenseman award then just becomes the Art Ross of defense, which maybe is fine. And then
Yeah.
Moritz is the best overall defenseman.
Right.
Maybe that does make sense. I don't know.
I like, you know how in baseball they do like the gold gloves?
Yeah.
It's like a whole team of best
Yeah.
defense. Like part of me thinks of like the Selkie, like imagine maybe you don't have to get rid of the Selkie, but have like, you know, the golden stick or whatever, like
Yeah.
the all defense first team kind of thing, you know?
You could
um,
do that for sure.
but I don't know. It's meaningless in the end because there's only one trophy that really
The Hearts
matters.
that McDavid should win this year, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is just McDavid fatigue. It's like the opposite of Bouchard, where
I think you know what's
it's
funny? Up until like what up until especially Draisaitl got hurt, I I was like, yeah, I don't know if McDavid he should always be in the conversation, but it's like,
right.
it maybe this is not necessarily a year of fatigue, but then he turned it up, and again, like
When he needed to, yeah.
the Oilers only won games when he got a point. They didn't win a single game where he didn't get a point. How is that not the most valuable player to right? So like I
Yeah,
look at it, I'm like, you know what? I think that does deserve the heart. And I mean, you can talk about Kucherov, McKinnon. I think obviously they're valuable to their teams, but
yeah,
I think at the end of the day, the only other person who had a real argument was Celebrini. But then with the Sharks not making it to the playoffs, it becomes a harder argument to give the heart to someone like that. But like if I was voting, McDavid would get the one. I'd probably put Celebrini at two, to be honest, just because he doubles his most
next.
next teammate. Like
That's how
and,
Taylor Hall
and
won.
Well, exactly, and that's kind of it. And so that's again,
Yeah,
the difference is, I mean, again, the heart is most valuable to their team, whereas there's uh the the Lindsay, which is
right.
that is basically the most outstanding
The
player at
most
that point.
outstanding.
So at least you have that dichotomy in this. It's unfortunate because realistically, the heart is the more prestigious trophy, but at least you have that, right? So
Which is interesting because like the heart is voted on by like the writers, and
yeah,
the Lindsay's voted on by the players. I don't know. It is interesting that one gets all the attention,
yeah.
the other no. I mean, but like I think that's part of like having won so many awards, and like how McDavid has been just kind of like dominating this conversation for so long, is like not only do you need to beat your peers, um, in terms of being the most valuable, but like you also need to beat like your previous self. Like you were saying, like, oh yeah, he was having a good year, but like not great for him, like just regular. Like, okay.
But yeah, this is only
Yeah.
the second highest point total he's put up in his career this year. The quietest year of doing that. Like,
Mm, yeah, yeah. Like no one's astounded or surprised anymore. So yeah, definitely two major awards that Oilers are deserving of. Whether it happens or not, we'll see. I mean, it doesn't matter that much, really. I mean, I guess like in the grand sense of history, like especially for Bouchard, like winning this North would really maybe change like how he's perceived. Yeah.
well, I guess you can say that, but you can also look at someone like PK Subban who won it, and I don't, or even Eric Carlson, and I don't think their wins changed people's perspectives
Not.
of.
That's a good point, I guess. Especially Subban, like Carlson had a wild era where he was the second best player in the world, you know. Like
Yeah,
when he was on the Sens, like before his injuries kind of caught up to him, it's like he was a force on his own. I
Exactly.
remember there was that one playoff run. He had some just like insane plays,
Oh,
like
yeah. Was that the one where he had like that saucer
huge
patch?
saucer patch. Iconic, man. I think it was Hoffman. I think I could be wrong. Do you ever know the good times when you're in them?
Exactly.
But yeah, Subban is an interesting comparable, obviously, just because of like they're very like polarizing. They were both kind of like left off various team candidates. PK made it, obviously, to
Yeah.
one. And
Didn't quite, but he made it. Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, curious. Curious.
But I mean, like you said though, none of that really matters right now. All that matters is
Right, right.
playoffs and the
The Ducks.
the cup and the yeah. Let's start with the Ducks. Let's
Let's start with the Ducks.
start with the Ducks, and then we can go from there. Uh,
No, I'm really excited to see the Ducks for sure. See kind of their like personality come out, especially of the young players. Like it's going to be a big introduction for a lot of people.
100%. Let's see.
All right, Faze, do you have anything else, or I think that's enough, right?
Yeah, I think that's good.
We talked about some stuff.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I can stop this off then, I guess.
Yeah,
All right, guys. Well, hopefully you enjoyed mine and Greg's ramblings about the playoffs and what's going to happen. If Montreal does make it to the finals, you heard it from me first. If they don't, I never said it. And we'll see you guys probably after the first round. We'll probably throw another episode together, I think.
that sounds good. I will say for those watching on audio only, Faze has got like his coach's like windbreaker on with the Oilers patch, so
Exactly. I'm in
he's
coach mode. I'm
he's
not in
ready.
player mode.
He's ready. Where's your whiteboard?
Actually,
Yeah.
I live right across the ring. I'm right across from the rink here. Like if
Right.
they need someone to hop over and
Mhm. Give them a timeout speech. Yeah. All right, guys.
okay, so
Thanks
I'll
so
do that
much.
again. But yeah, thanks everyone for listening. Hopefully it'll be a fun playoff like this. Like we said, it's going to be a wild ride this year, I think, in the first round. Check us out. Check out what Greg and I will be writing about the playoffs at theoilrig.ca. And we'll catch you on our next episode, hopefully talking about the Oilers' second round. Knocks on all the wood.